see the glory of Dharma. May I perfect the qualities of the levels and paths, and thus swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. Let's just do the the four limited contemplation. In English first. I'll start, Vernon. When you can, you come in. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness that can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Sem jindam je dewatang dewe jutang din ba jutik. Dungal tang, dungal chichu tang draw wajutik, dungal mepe dewa tampa tang mindra wajutik, nearing chak tang ni tang draw we tang num jempola ne pajutik. Okay, so today we're going to do part 3 of dreams, the sleep state, Tibetan Dream Yoga, and all possibilities. And Eid, if you missed these, you can go back. We'll give you the YouTube link, and you can go back and get part 1 and 2.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with a quote, quite a funny quote. It's just my tongue-in-cheek to really give you a little bit of controversy. Okay, so it's by Stefan Kaplan Williams. The Story of a Dreamer, and he says, I dreamt that I was dreaming myself. Or was it that I dreamed that someone was dreaming me? I do not remember. But when I woke up, I knew that because of the dream, a dream for which I had not asked, my whole life could be different from this day. It was as if I had awakened because I had dreamed that I was dreaming. This puzzled me, since up to this moment I'd always thought that it was I who was dreaming my dreams. But now I also had to face that I might well be being dreamed of by some other being of which I knew nothing. This frightened me. Was I not in control of my life? Was I not an adult who had taken charge of my life and actions? Or was I still somebody's child to be manipulated and directed with little say of my own? Perhaps I was most afraid because if it were true that somebody or something was dreaming me, I would have to find out who or what that being was and relate to it. I would want to do this because I'd want choice in the matter of what was really going on in my life. Perhaps I did not want to be dreamed, but also did I have control in the matter? Maybe my only freedom was in how I related to what was really there. My fear was not only losing control, but also what I would find if I looked for who or what was dreaming me. And how would I find out? Well, through my dreams, of course. If I actively remembered and worked with them, I might achieve a freedom I'd never known before, a freedom which would allow me to see into that other world which compelled me and make conscious choices in relation to it. My fear was beginning to evaporate under the challenge. Perhaps I needed the dream. That I needed what my dreams were trying to say to me, that my dreams were not trying to control me after all, but to set me free. Perhaps working with he or she who dreams me would be my way of filling a void somewhere deep within that I've always felt but never been able to do anything with. Perhaps the dream, perhaps working with the dream, and by making choices in relation to the dream. But where would I go? How would I find help in dealing with my dreams? I knew only that because I had dreamed and been dreamed, I needed to search. Now, you know, when you are searching, I always search because I also I had a similar kind of thing, not exactly what he was saying, but I had a similar thing about wanting to search, and you can butt in anyone today. So what are we searching for? We're all actually searching for a way out of this suffering, out of this illusory life. It seems to us so often that we're not free. We're often unhappy. We're often sick. We're often critical. We're often dissatisfied with our lives. I was reading this book in the bush on the secret teachings of Padmasambhava, a very difficult book, short, but a very difficult book by Kenneth Lipman, because it's got some very deep ideas in it. But I was reading it in the bush. And what are the deep, secret, hidden teachings that Padmasambhava left for those who want to find this way out? Now, what I'm doing this morning is I'm going to build up the whole emphasis and the whole amazing different way of looking at your life in order to do the Tibetan Dream Yoga practices. So I'm changing it a bit. For some of you who've done some of the Tibetan Dream Yoga, I'm changing it a little bit because I want to give you something that really centers you in this practice, not just a practice you do on retreat, but something you really carry with you. So what were these secret teachings I was reading about? He said that from the essence, the primordial consciousness, pristine awareness, which is the tool, from that essence comes these luminous, pure forms in different colors and different wisdoms. And he said they are the pure expression from the essence, okay? And they're going to dissolve back, but they are the pure expression. And to quote from the book, at the outer level, we've got 5 levels to the deeper one. The natural environment that we experience, what we experience in our daily life, okay, consists of the 5 phases of earth, water, fire, wind, and space. And these all emanate from the primordial ground. All those 5 elements emanate from the primordial ground, or when we look at them, they could be spontaneous glimmering in 5 colors. So when we look at them purely, what comes out of the essence is 5 spontaneous, magnificent colors. You know, one of you, I think it was you, Gail, because I listened to Nicola's very lovely talk. She gave such a beautiful talk. She can't be here this morning, unfortunately, but I think it was you, Gail, that said you saw all the colors, these vivid colors. Was it you in the group, Gail? Okay. Now, those vivid colors that you were seeing were spontaneous glimmering of the colors from the natural essence. You just took your awareness and you managed to see them. And I spend my whole life trying to see them. But these are collectively experienced as 5 physical phases. Why? Because we've made them concrete. Instead of seeing them free, like you had the experience of seeing them, we now make them concrete. And then what happens? The process of moving from the spiritual pure expression to a concrete physical reality. And that's where all the realms come from in Buddhism. That's how they all come. When we realize this pure presence that we all have, then the illuminating quality comes with its hue, comes forth. And then you see these magnificent colors, because that's the pure form of the elements. And all of you should start seeing them soon. So the illuminating quality of pure, so just to give you an example, what happens is when you see it naturally, it's red. Don't worry about this, Edith. It's red. Okay, when you see the red, automatically the red, the illuminating red, is discriminating wisdom. That's what it is. It's discriminating wisdom. And I'll help you with all of this, Ed, and tell you where to go for this, okay? When we go astray, that red color becomes fire. And what we see on this earth is fire. Another example, the illuminating quality, the wisdom of perfective action is green. Now, if you can't see the pure green wisdom, then it becomes wind. That's what you're seeing. So each of the elements get concretized, and then we split samsara and nirvana. Now, just ponder this without getting excited. I mean, just take it a little further. So what happens if we don't have pristine, clear awareness? Now, Nicola was talking about the clear awareness that Anam Tupten was talking about. Having that tool of awareness, then what happens is those beautiful natural colors become coarse, and poisons and skandhas form, feelings, perceptions, all of that start arising. And we live in those, and we believe that they are real and solid, and we fixate and attach to them, and we always feel out of alignment and suffering, and we concentrate on an ego which doesn't exist. So when I was reading this text in the natural bush, where nature spontaneously aligns everything with everything else in a beautiful way, I felt in the bush this scream inside me when I was reading the book. I felt like a scream, a primal scream coming out. And what I was saying to myself, I didn't scream it out, but I was screaming inside me. Why did we leave our natural, spiritual, pure state for this world as it is with all its suffering? Why, when we had it all to start with, why is all our education on advanced technology not concentrating on becoming liberated naturally? What a waste when this truth is available. I realize that it is because we are simply attached to believing that everything around us is real, solid, and permanent. That's our problem. We're attached to that, okay? And so we would have to train our minds to start seeing it differently, to stop concretizing and holding on. That is what Tibetan Dream Yoga is about. I've given you my own introduction, not the introductions I usually give on retreat, but I want you to understand this very clearly, okay? So Padmasambhava, in his book, Natural Liberation in the Six Bardos, okay, of which the bardo of dreams and liberation is one of those six bardos, should be studied and practiced by all of us. Whichever of these six teachings we follow, they're all the same. The dream is the same as the earthly training, as the death training, as any of them. They're all the same. So we should look at the six teachings of life between birth and death, of life in your sleep state, of life in your meditation state, and of three afterlife experiences. We should look at all of them, because all of them that Padmasambhava teaches are practical meditations for all the different states. And I want you to understand this, because if you understand this, you will be able to really practice Tibetan Dream Yoga. It's very important, and you can ask me. But I like to study all of them. I like to study the birth and death ones. I like to study the dream ones. I like to study the death and dying ones, very important. But the common teaching, what is the common teaching? Now we go back to the elements. The common teaching is that in each bardo, so when we're living between birth and death, when we're in the sleep state, when we're in the real meditation state, and when we're in the death state, in all of those, each bardo is held together by the elements. Okay, each bardo. So my body and your body are just compiled of the elements. They're held together in a particular way. Then I go off and sleep, and then they're held together in a looser way. Then I go off and die, and they're not held together at all. Everything goes back into nature, and we're free. So what happens is each bardo is held together by elements. So if you want to leave a bardo, those elements that sustained your level of consciousness there dissolve and a new configuration arises. So in other words, you're in your sleep state. Now I go in and out of my dream state like you go in and out of your bedroom window. I mean, I go in and out all the time. In fact, last night, I dream straight away when I go in or go wherever I'm going or go on dream experiences or anything. So last night, as I fell asleep, I went in and there were these two people outside. It wasn't my house, it was a house that I belonged in. And I came inside quickly. And I said to the person that was with me, close the door, close the door. And I didn't have time to close the door. You know how in a dream you can't close the door. And this woman came up and she held a whole lot of things. And I said, close the door, but I couldn't close the door. And I looked at her through the glass door and I said, go away. And I didn't know that I screamed that out in my sleep state. Like I said, go away. So my husband said, what's wrong? I screamed out, go away. Because I go in and out of the sleep state when I wake up in the morning. I don't know which is the sleep state and which is the wakeful state, because it's all a dream anyway. So what happens is that when we leave a particular state, so you something in your dreams, and then you come into this life, and then you're Melanie again, or you Melanie, sad Melanie again, or you irritated Melanie again, or I'm a teacher, or I'm another role that I'm in. But all that happens is when I wake up from the sleep state, those elements dissolve, and then my body comes back into another elemental configuration. So if you understand this, you'll understand why when people wake up, they often go, oh, you know, something like that, because the elements are dissolving and now they're coming out in another way. You know, now you've got to think, where was I? What was I doing? Who am I? When I'm on retreat, I do not know the difference at all between the sleep state and the living state. And I don't know what's real in this world and what's in the sleep state, because I go on so many journeys and everything. If we think that this is reality, either the dream or your wakeful state, if we think that our daily life is not a dream, if we believe that solid, it then makes us subject to the conditions of that bardo. So if we believe in the solidity, if I think, like Bern, you're going through a real hard struggle, if you believe that it was solid and impenetrable and going to last forever, you'd be in a doomed state. You'd probably be in a psychiatric hospital or something like that, you know, because we've got to, as soon as we are in this body, we become subject to the conditions that are in this body, unless we realize that it's all a dream and that it's all, we need to see these bardos as transitions, going from one dimension to another. If tomorrow morning you wake up and you're dying, you go, oh, I'm transiting the bardo between birth and death into the after-death state. All the elements are going to dissolve. And if I don't see the truth, which is that there's no solidity, if I don't see the truth of the essence coming out with all these hues that are free, then I'm going to bind myself again in another body into a bardo, and I'm going to be bound by that all over again. Now, if you look at little children, it's so amazing, because you tell little children deep spiritual truths, and you know that they answer you, they understand them much better than you, especially when they're very young. Then as they get older, they start, you know, doubting what they've actually seen. But if you tell a child something spiritual, they are still not attached to this bardo between birth and death, okay? And we need to see the bardos as transitions if we want to attain enlightenment and freedom from samsara and suffering. Awareness, which you learned about last time, is the key training for living, dreaming and sleeping, dying, training the mind to be awake and aware. None of this is real, and that's what Tibetan Dream Yoga is about, to help you to loosen your perceptions. Okay, I'm throwing it open before I go on to another thing. Tell me if anybody wants to say anything, because there's a lot to say here, but for me, this gives you the truth about who you are. Please ask me if you don't understand any single thing.
So it's
Mimi,
it's like you believe you are suffering because you believe you are suffering.
Exactly.
Therefore, you are suffering.
Exactly. So only if you are caught in the conditions of the suffering.
Yes.
Then
but if you don't believe you are suffering, then how can you be suffering?
Exactly that. You still remember lots of things. But the thing is, and I'm sure you've done a lot of your own work, Eve, but you know what? It's such an interesting thing. And when I was writing out, when I was doing this talk, I thought, I can't just go on to my usual things. I've got to do something about how it's happening in me right now. Because in me, I think only as you go along the path do you realize that everything is temporary, transient, and you don't get and trapped by that bardo.
Yes, this is a vehicle, and there are many vehicles. And I mean, obviously I'm talking outside of the Buddhist context because I'm learning. That's why I'm here today. But there are many vehicles, and this is just one vehicle, and there could be many vehicles happening at the same time.
Exactly.
Because you're not bound by just one physical body, which is solid.
Exactement. And that's why these masters can have 3 physical incarnations at the same time. Just part of their consciousness goes into each. But we live such a limited life. And I can't live this limited life anymore. I just can't. I really can't be bound by the circumstances of this life. I really can't do that anymore. So if Guru Rinpoche wants to take me, that's fine. Then I'll go into other dimensions and other things. But I can't just do this being bound with something I see so clearly, Anyone else say, ask what you don't understand, what you do understand. Don't be frightened, because if you can understand this, then you can really get into the dream yoga. Anyone? Don't think your questions are not complicated enough. The simpler, the better. I'm very happy about that. You all understand then? Because the practice of Tibetan Dream Yoga, stop me if you don't, is to understand, this is the main thing of Tibetan Dream Yoga, to understand the practices of the impure and pure illusory bodies. That's the basis of Tibetan Dream Yoga. To really, really, really understand the practices of the impure and pure illusory bodies. What does this mean? First of all, the Buddha taught that all composite phenomena are like illusions, like dreams, like bubbles, like mirages, like echoes. The impure illusory body is not only this, the impure illusory body is everything, all the phenomena in your life. They're all impure illusory bodies. So even this is an impure illusory body. You are an impure illusion. It's not only your bodies, it's the whole, everything in your lives. And what does that mean? It means what you are seeing in yourself and in everything else is just an appearance that comes about due to dependent related causes and conditions. I'll give you an example. But in fact, it never existed in solid form on its own. It's totally illusory. So I was thinking of an example. If you say, someone says, where were you today? You say, oh, I went to Melanie's Monday morning group. That's your label, okay? A solid thing. I went to Melanie's Monday morning group. Okay, fine. What does it mean? My group is only a group, number one, because I'm here. If I suddenly weren't here, I couldn't have it unless somebody took my place, like last week. If you weren't there, if nobody rocked up, we also couldn't have a Monday morning group. If there wasn't Zoom, we couldn't have a Monday morning group like this. If there wasn't electricity, we also couldn't have a Monday morning group. If there wasn't the teaching and the lineage, we also couldn't have a Monday morning group. So Monday morning group, the label, is made up of a whole lot of causes and conditions, because I'm here and I want to teach the Dharma, because you want to learn the Dharma, because it's Monday, because Zoom's open, because we've got electricity, because we all here gathered together. So now put the label Monday morning group. But now I'm challenging you. I mean, one factor isn't there, and you haven't got a Monday morning group. So why are we labeling it? We're labeling it for convenience, but actually that makes us think that this Monday morning group is solid. I remember, what's his name, gave the example of a tennis match. He said in a tennis match, the dependent causes are you've got to have two people opposed to each other, you've got to have a racket, you've got to have a ball, you've got to have all those Charlie Morley, you've got to have all those factors, and then you've got a tennis match. Okay, one of them's missing, you haven't got a tennis match. Why am I going on and on about this? Because everything in your life is just the dependent causes and conditions. It's not for real. As soon as you can see this, you'll stop saying all these labels, or you'll say these labels, but straight away you'll know they're not anything like we are making them. They're not solid, they're not tangible, they're not permanent, and they're not you. Same with your feelings. Your feelings, if you are angry today, your anger is not just made up of your anger, it's made up of all the people today who made you angry, of all the circumstances today. If one of them are gone, the anger might be gone. The anger is not you, and it's not solid. So this is what we have to train in this day and night, and then at death. I'll tell you how you train in a moment. So the one practice is what I'm saying now. I'll tell you how to do it. The impure illusory body. The other practice is called the pure illusory body. The pure. Now that is when you visualize yourself as Chenrezig, as Guru Rinpoche, as Tara, when we visualize ourselves in all the different ways, when we visualize ourselves like that, that is our pure illusory body. Because when we visualize ourselves like that, then we are visualizing the qualities of that deity, still illusory, but pure. Okay, so when we visualize ourselves as the chosen deity, Chenrezig, Vajrasattva, Padmasambhava, or any form of the Buddha, we imagine ourselves, like we do in the practice, living in a pure realm of primordial wisdom, and we imagine a palace. Now, I've started to see that palace That palace is in your heart, actually, but we visualize a palace inhabited by these male and female deities. Are they real? Are they real things? Could they come walking into your life? Yes, in a dependent form they could, but they're all just the pure qualities. And we imagine all of them pure in nature, having an illusion-like existence. And in this practice, we regard ourselves and others as completely pure, having no substantial existence, and we view all phenomena as appearing, yet not being truly existent. This training in the pure object dissolving into our own bodies and clearly imagining our own bodies like that makes us adept in the practice of the pure illusory body, which is what Tibetan Dream Yoga is about. Now, if you take a crystal, okay, and let's say in the crystal, let's say it didn't have the Buddha in the middle, but let's say you put a picture of Vajrasattva here, and you looked at this, then Vajrasattva would be on that side, that side, that side, that side. You'd see many, many Vajrasattvas, illumined through this crystal. And what would you think? Oh, there's so many Vajrasattvas. There's so many things. You start to see the illusion of tangibly hooking even onto Chenrezi's body, even onto the compassion. We don't have to tangibly hook onto it. We just have to understand that compassion is a quality that comes through us. And we realize that the practice of the illusory body, both pure and impure, is to take us away from this absolute tangibility, as Edith was saying, to the tangibility to your problems, the solidity of everything. We're going beyond this. And then the dream yoga, I'm going to go into what happens in the dream state, but you'll also be able to use it in your wakeful state. And then you'll be able to use it when you die. So training in these is absolutely amazing, 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 because you really realize what you're doing, and you really realize how amazing it is when nothing is tangible, because it also affects you when everything is going beautifully in your life, because then you don't want it to end. You want everything to stay as it is when it's going well. But when it's horrible, you do want it to end. So you begin not to even attach to the happy moments. You start to see the whole world in a completely different way. So we start in the day frequently asking all day. Now, since I've been teaching you this, I've really been doing it all the time. Is this real? Is it a dream? Is this unreal? Is my body solid? Is my personality something solid, or is it just a transient drama? Is there really something called time? Did it happen? That beautiful time I had before, it's gone. Did it really happen? That terrible trauma I had before, it's gone. Did it really happen? We're asking these questions. You keep reminding yourself that you are dreaming your experiences, the anger you feel, the fatigue you feel. It's all dreamlike. Look at all your experiences as insubstantial, impermanent projections of your mind. Everything is illusion. Okay, Luce, I want what's happening in your little mind. Just one other thing I want to say, then I'm asking you. We train in the deity practice. Now, I'll tell you how I train in the deity practice. I've always been in love with the Taras from the word go. So the first day I came into Tibetan Buddhism, I was introduced to Tara, boom, I went off with Tara. So much so that Beryl, that beautiful teacher in Cape Town, saw me at Cape Mountain Retreat, and she said to someone, "Who's that girl? She's obviously been doing Tara for a very long time." Now, I'd been doing Tara for about 2 weeks when she saw me, but it was so clear to me. The minute Tanya showed me all the movements and everything, I could just do them straight away. It was clear in my mind. So I was absolutely in love with green Tara, and I asked her for everything and everything. But when I learned much later that there was no such a thing as green Tara out there, it was just your own qualities, then I started incorporating green Tara's qualities into myself. She's quick. She does things to perfected action. She's swift, she's nimble, she's beautiful. I didn't see myself as beautiful, but as Tara, I could be absolutely beautiful. And then I came to a point, I can't explain it to you, where I thought, I love Tara. Tara's my way of getting to Guru Rinpoche. I have to be Tara to get to Guru Rinpoche. But suddenly, white Tara appeared to me. And then I thought, yes, I need to. So for a long time, I thought, white Tara's got a wish-fulfilling wheel. I want to have a wish-fulfilling wheel. She fulfills all the wishes. And then when I once had to, in one of my lectures, look at the Dharma wheel, the wheel of life, and her wish-fulfilling wheel, I realized that her wish-fulfilling wheel was her. So if I wanted the wish-fulfilling wheel, I didn't have to ask her for it. I would have to develop the wish-fulfilling wheel so that I could fulfill everybody's wishes where it was appropriate or whatever the case is. And she is pure. She is quiet. She does it very, very quietly. She's the healer. She's the long life provider. And so I really wanted these qualities very, very badly. And so I started incorporating them. So now I've got the 2 Taras in order to get to Guru Rinpoche. And it was absolutely amazing to actually, this is how we work with the pure illusory bodies. We become them. We don't look at them outside. And you can grow and change with these qualities. They're all qualities that serve you. You can be them and then change. Guru Rinpoche will appear. Guru Rinpoche will appear as this pure, beautiful, quiet deity, and then he'll appear as a wrathful being, hitting you along the way and subjugating all the darkness. You can be everything. You can be all of those. And when we train like this during the day, sorry, Luce, I was going to ask you for your feeling. Sorry, just unmute yourself. I can't hear you.
That's already left my head, because as soon as you said green Tara, that's where I love green Tara. I use her energy and she resonates with me. So the dream's gone already. I'm listening to green Tara.
No, that's fine. But the thing is that, can you understand what I'm saying about the pure and impure illusory bodies? Can you understand that? Okay, good. Because when we train like this during the day, we're going to start training in a moment, we start to see the content of our dreams like this. And we start gaining control over the content of the dreaming process. This whole process acts as a catalyst for gaining insight into the nature of reality. That's what we're doing here. We're gaining insight into the nature of reality. It begins as an imaginary process and it leads to the direct perception of reality. That's what we want. We want to, Gail, see those beautiful, vivid colors of the elements. We don't want to have this tangible. We want to sit with the trees and everything and with people and close our eyes and see the elements in their pure forms. We want to be able to do this, okay? And it begins as an imaginary process, but leads to direct perception of reality. Then we can do this at death and liberate ourselves. It's a whole loosening of our process of perception, which is full of our own projections. Everything's changing. Everything's gone in a flash. The Tibetan book of death and dying goes every couple of paragraphs. O noble son and daughter, O noble son and daughter. I used to think, why in the book do they say, O noble son and daughter, when we're full of such crap in our lives? They say it because they're looking at your true self. O noble son and daughter, listen, find the truth. Let everything dissolve and find your way to the clear light. Find it, okay? Bardos are transitions. That's all. Between birth and death is just a transition. The dream consciousness is not as coarse with the grouping of the elements as the day consciousness. So we can play with it more easily. I'll give you all the types of dreaming in Tibetan Buddhism, Tibetan Dream Yoga. Tibetan Dream Yoga hinges on what it means to be lucid, awake, aware, not to be locked into our illusory identity. And the practice of dream yoga, just to go back, I told you this I think in the first lecture, but let's just redo it because it's been a while. The practice of dream yoga is based on three-tiered theory of consciousness, 3 tiers. So first, it's the psyche. The psyche, which we use, which I told you is where all the psychology comes in, where all the different dream theorists came in. The psyche is, in the West, is the most coarse consciousness. Okay, it's like in your waking consciousness. And it's based on the 5 physical senses, thoughts, feelings. It's your ordinary conditioned mind that makes up the psyche. And on the Tuesday evening, for those of you that are interested, I'm doing the neuroses, the wounds, all of those kind of things, how they get into your psyche, and how here we're going to look at how the dreams can help you clear the psyche. But the psyche is the coarsest level, and we're not doing that in Tibetan Dream Yoga. A little bit so we can clear, but the psyche is the coarse, ordinary mind. Then the psyche emanates from a deeper, intermediate level, called the alaya or substrate consciousness. Okay, now a lot of you know this, but you don't know that the psyche is the shallow consciousness. The alaya or substrate consciousness is the next level, a much more subtle, deeper level of consciousness. And in this alaya consciousness are all the subtle mind stream with all its karmic imprints, karmic traces, your habits, your tendencies, your attitudes, going back in this lifetime and previous lifetimes. That is the second level of consciousness, the psyche, and then the alaya substrate consciousness, which has all the tendencies, the imprints, the attitudes. Now you can already tell, hang on a moment, what do I do with those tendencies? What do I do if I've got a bad temper? What do I do if I feel so awful about myself? What do I do? How do I do it? You know, what am I supposed to do? Okay. But when you understand that, and then you can apply it to the samsaric dreams, which we'll talk about in a moment if there's time, you apply it to the samsaric dreams, you can clear those imprints during the sleep state. That's what Padmasambhava has taught. You can clear, burn the imprints in your subtle mind stream, in your alaya or substrate consciousness. You can work with that in the dream state. Now you're going to say, how must I do it? Because in the dream state, you are able to enter and you're able to change things. So when you find, like I'm doing on the Tuesday night, your neurotic tendencies happen, they'll also come up in the imprints in your dream, and you change the way you respond to them. You can also change the way you respond when you're in a body, but you change the way you respond to them, and you burn those karmic seeds up in the sleep state. And then the deepest, most fundamental layer of consciousness is your primordial consciousness. Now, Eads, I've given lots of teachings on all of these, and I'll give you all the stuff. You can go and have a feast, do whatever you want, because I know you always had that in you. So it's absolutely fine, you know, if you go and really look at things. But the primordial consciousness, the deep consciousness, encompasses the psyche and the substrate, or the psyche and the alaya. It's got both in it, okay? But it's not affected by them, not at all. So whatever you're going through is never affected in the primordial consciousness, never, okay? It's the gateway to full enlightenment. The gateway to full enlightenment. So
Mel, could I ask, sorry, can I ask a question?
Of course, you can ask more than a question, yeah?
Nightmares.
Yes, good. Okay, nightmare, yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's what I need to know about nightmares. Where does,
Yeah.
what is it meaning, and where does it?
No, you see,
Yeah.
nightmares are very important expression of your alaya consciousness, even your psyche, because especially with kids, you know, kids have nightmares from the time they're tiny, and then sometimes they get over it. And we are always taught in the dream stuff never to wake a child up when they're having a nightmare. Don't, you know, because most parents will go, okay, wake up, it's a dream, but they don't realize that's very important dream for the child, where the child can work through the burning of karma in the sleep state. So a nightmare is simply the expression. A lot of people can't deal with their pain in this life. So as soon as they get to the sleep state and they have this nightmare that they wake up, like I said, go away, you know, out loud. And children do that a lot. That nightmare is brilliant, because if you wake up and instead of going, oh, I'm so pleased it's a dream, like when Lincoln's wife had Lincoln when he was the president, and just before he was going to get killed, you know, she had this dream that he died. She had this dream. I remember a dream. It was like she was walking in the White House and everybody was crying. And then she went in and there was this casket, this coffin in the room in the White House. And she said to everybody, she said, who is this? Who's in the coffin? And they said, your husband. And then she woke herself out of the nightmare like that. And he said, what's wrong? And she said, oh, I had this terrible nightmare, but I'm so pleased it's only a dream. And then he actually was assassinated soon after that. And she had a which is called a dream of clarity. She had a it was helping her to do it. So when you have the nightmares, it's really important, if you keep having it, especially where they're repetitive, to look at all the aspects. Like I told you, the Fritz Perls technique of seeing all the aspects of yourself. And usually if you have a nightmare about somebody, it's probably your own aspect if you give them an adjective. So nightmares are really, really, really important, you know, to look at and examine. And I'll help anybody to examine any of their nightmares. But just to finish, and then let's do a meditation. Tibetan Dream Yoga seeks to gradually penetrate to the primordial consciousness by way of realizing that everything, including oneself, emerges from and is really of the nature of this primordial enlightened ground that I started with. Everything is. So even the most evil thing, when I do the medicine Buddha, I always ask the Medicine Buddha to heal all these evil leaders, because they're not evil, they're just misconstruing their whole lives and using it in a wrong way. And if they could be healed, they might wake up to their primordial consciousness, which is absolutely pure. So the specific practices of Tibetan Dream Yoga enable one to explore and deeply understand the nature and origin of the mental phenomena of the psyche first, to penetrate to its source, the substrate or alaya consciousness or ground of ordinary mind, and finally to recognize and dwell in the primordial consciousness. And when you dwell in the primordial consciousness, it's completely different, because then you are seeing everything as the hue of the elements. You're seeing everyone as just acting out an evil role, acting out an angry role, not as something that is really against you. Like Bern, if you look at your life, I mean, I hope you don't mind me using it as an example, but if you look at your life, okay, and you see that, and you see in your life the hectic things that you've been given in this life. You're given such hard things. None of you will ever know, but I know them very, very well. And yet, what an amazing thing if you look and you stand back and you look through your psyche, through your substrate or your alaya consciousness into your primordial consciousness. You'll know that this is the best. What you are being given is the best possible way for you to loosen. Bern always likes everything to be absolutely in its place and perfect. And for years I've been saying to her, don't worry if it's not perfect. It doesn't matter. No, but what's this? Give me this chart. Do this, do that. She always likes it to be perfect. And she does things perfectly, which is a great joy to anybody working with her. But the price is too high. So the universe is taking all the ground under you in order for you not to suffer, but to see the primordial light, which you will. I know you will, but there's still a little bit of work still to do. Do you hear me? Does it make sense to you?
It absolutely makes sense.
Very
When you
difficult.
say a little bit of time, I know there's going to be a 2-year period still. It's not over yet.
2 years is a blink of an eye. It's nothing. I
When
mean,
you're going through it on a daily basis, it's hard.
look, I know that it's very, very hard, but the harder it is, the more potential to get to
Yeah.
the primordial ground. And that's all I can say. And your dedication and your devotion might short circuit this process. So don't be absolutely adamant that it's still got to be a long time. If you wake up in the midst of all of this, then you have achieved your goal. Won't matter after that. And a lot of things have changed in you. So it is amazing. And although the dream yoga initiates this process during sleep and dreams, Tibetan dream yoga involves practices employed during the daytime, and it aims to awaken our entire life, day and night, from the sleep of samsara. And I love it when Surya Das goes, in dream work, we are like a magician who plays with phenomena, who can change appearances. Bern, who can change appearances. We can look through the dreams, not only see our projections, but look right back at the projector, your mind. What you're seeing is only the projections of your mind. I love Gail's posture. It's so she's thinking and working and absorbing and deciding, and I love it, honestly. But just tell me, those of you who've done Tibetan Dream Yoga retreats, is this helpful what I've done this morning? Because I sat with it for a long time and I thought, I don't only want to do what I've got, I want to do something beyond. I want you to really get to understand what we are doing. Mimi, yes. Molly?
Yes, definitely, because it gives us a better idea of what we're doing, how to go about it. I am working with my dreams a lot, but I haven't really seen that progression yet to the deeper levels. Not yet. Still busy with my ordinary mind.
It's hard. When I go to my dreams in retreats, I can't explain it to you. It just goes from one world into another. The transitions happen, and then I'm back in this world, and then I'm in that world, and then I'm in that world. I can't even read you half my dream things because, you know, you'll just go, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I mean, I have insights and teachings and visitations and go places, and I'm in my dream body, and then I'm traveling somewhere. When I'm at Taisitu's monastery, then I'm meeting in the dream state, and I meet all the masters that are there. And it's like a crazy thing, you know, it's really like a crazy thing because there's no separation, there's no keeping it. Yeah.
Happens often to me is I think back on things and I don't know if they were real or dreams. Places I've been to, experiences I've had, that happens a lot. And I think, was that real or is it a dream? So I suppose that's the start, the training.
Absolutely, the training. That's what it is. And I don't, sorry, Jill, do you want to say something?
I'm just saying, if you have a lot of nightmares at night, and you wake up in the morning and you're feeling terrible, what are you experiencing?
Okay, well, the thing is, that's such a good question, Jill. And the thing is that your nightmares are the same as Burns, what she's going through the daytime. Okay, those nightmares, look, there are 3 levels of Tibetan Dream Yoga, which I want to first just do a meditation, and then we can just look at them briefly. There's the samsaric dreams, which are all about your everyday life, okay, and usually the nightmares are there. Then there are the dreams of clarity, which is where you are becoming, you're not so involved in the psyche and the alaya consciousness and the imprints and the nightmares and everything. Now you can even be in a dream body. I remember the first time I was in a dream body, I was in my room on the roof, and I was looking at my body over there, and I knew that I was dreaming and I was out of my body. And the dreams of clarity give us the most amazing way of understanding things because it's different to our waking life. You know how, like, when you try and describe a dream and you kind of say, then I was there, then I did this. I know it doesn't make sense, but then I was doing this, because you're not limited by the limitations of the physical constraints when you're in a lucid dream. Okay, you can shape it, you can play with phenomena, and then you realize you can also play with them here. So the night, and then you have the clear light dreams, which are beyond the content, which is mostly, I don't have clear light dreams, but I mostly have dreams of clarity and that kind of thing. But when I'm stressed, it's very interesting. Like, there were certain stresses that I had in the bush now, and then I was having all these samsaric dreams again. I couldn't believe it. So it means something's happening in your psyche, something's happening in your alaya consciousness, and you need to work it through. So when you have these dreams, if you have a repetitive dream, Jill, then phone me and we'll discuss it. Okay, I'm very happy.
Thank you.
But in the meantime, what you do is,
how do you get rid of it?
No, you don't get rid of it because you haven't looked at it yet. As soon as you've got it, as soon as you've got your insight, it will not come back again. Okay, it will not come back again. I know that I have that repetitive dream of the plane crashing in front of me, and it wouldn't go away for years and years and years. And then one day I realized what it was, and it never came back again. The thing is that you need to, instead of waking up in your usual feeling of, oh my goodness, this is awful, I had this terrible dream, I feel so awful. Don't go into that. That's too solid. Just wake up in the morning and breathe in. I'm going to give you the morning practices. And as you breathe out, you go, oh, because R-A-H, if you look it up on your phone, it's what Karen's symbol is there on her thing. That's the symbol.
Mm.
And so you wake up, you go, oh. And when you do the R, it's the creative symbol. So you're creating a new life, okay? So you're breathing in. Surya does always to say, lift yourself up and stretch your hands out and do your ah 3 times. You're creating a new day.
Yeah, yeah.
When that is done, sit down on your bed and objectively look at what happened in the nightmare. Don't be afraid. Say, let me see what this mirror-like wisdom is telling me. What is it trying to tell me? What am I not? I don't know if you want to share one of your repetitive nightmares. We can look at it here.
No, I think no. It's
Private.
sometimes
Okay.
they're so distorted that I can't even work them out myself.
Okay, but take the main theme in it and use a mirror to ask you what aspect of yourself you are clearing, because you also have got a fortune that you are clearing, because otherwise you are a naturally spiritual person, and otherwise that spirituality can't be free. It's tied to all the garbage.
Yeah, that's exactly
And
that's exactly what it is.
You've got to take that garbage and you've got to eat it, and you've got to look at it, and you've got to see what it's trying to tell you. As soon as you do that, it'll be gone. I promise you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you a call, and then it'll be very interesting to see that if it can actually move to that extent.
It'll move completely and totally, because I know you're going into a new era, so it'll all move to. Okay, so it's very important, because that holding tight onto everything so it doesn't change is really produces a nightmare. And the dream, the clear light dreams are beyond all the content. There's no content. You just are in that primordial space. So we'll go through these 3 types. Does it matter if we take a bit longer with this dream material, everybody? And we take another, because I want to also give you some techniques, proper techniques of using them in the evening. Even if some of you have done them, maybe you'll look at them differently. So let's just quickly do, but we'll sort you, Joel, don't worry. Let's quickly do a meditation. I'm just going to, what's the name, mute you, so we don't have any of your noises. Right. Let's go. I want you to sit back, and I want you always to remember, we'll do it next time. I was hoping we could do a long meditation, but there won't be time, because I want you to become totally familiar with the 3 main columns, the 3 main nadis in your body, okay? The 3 that are very important, but we won't do it now, because when we do the cleansing breaths, we'll go to do that, because it's really important that you understand that completely, and that when you are meditating, and you could do this before you go to bed, you are trying to bring all the prana, the energy, into the central column. So when your back is straight and your chin's a little bit tucked in, and your feet are on the floor or in a lotus or half lotus, and your hands are on your lap, right over left, with the thumbs touching, and you're just breathing gently in and out to the count of 3 or 4 in to the count of 3 or 4 out. Just bringing yourself to the now. Here we are together, beautifully together. Such a togetherness, even though half the group isn't here today, but we all together in a beautiful union. And it's amazing that someone like Edith can come in and she just fits straight away. Maybe you've been waiting for a long time, Edith, but just come to this moment, in this present moment. The past is gone. Was it a dream? Was it true? Where was it? Where did this happen? What happened in the past? I can't really remember vividly. It's gone, gone, gone. What am I going to do in the future? Who knows? The future hasn't been made. It'll make itself if I just loosen, let be, let go, let everything go. But there's nothing to let go of, so let it just be. All the things, the place I'm in right now is perfect for my growth, for my development, for everything that I created. It's all sitting in my Alaya substrate consciousness. And so I have to let it all be. I'm breathing in and breathing out. I'm knowing with total acceptance that I'm in the right place at the right time with all the hardships. And so we start that reality checking all day. Is this a dream? Is it real? Is it transitory? What's its nature? Is it solid? Is it permanent? Is it now? Is it past? Is it future? Is there time? What is it all about? Everything is so unreal. I see it. I know. When I look at the mirror, in the mirror, I see my body. All those responses to my body. Ugh, you're awful. Oh, you're beautiful. Are those true? Aren't those just the mundane things that we have in our life? Where is it all? What are these projections? Are they real? Are they true? What are they? My illusory body, it's insubstantial. It's changing. Once I was young and beautiful without wrinkles. Now I'm old and decrepit. I don't look very nice. It's not the same body. It's illusory. Am I the same as I was when I was a baby? No. When I was younger? No. Who am I? What am I? It's also illusory. Everything in your entire environment, every sentient being in the universe is temporary, transient, impermanent. Reflect on your illusory mind and your personality. What is this personality? Is it a personality? Is it solid? But sometimes I'm so light-hearted. Sometimes I'm so funny. Sometimes I'm a bore. I'm not the same thing every single time. I haven't really got a personality. When people say, this is who I am, I always ask the question, is it? Or is this just who you are addicted or absolutely habituated to become? Okay, we are not a personality. We are lots of personalities. We have lots of ways of doing things. We have lots of everything. There's no one personality, no one illusory mind. Look at the dreamlike nature of your body and your mind. Start to unveil a true identity, which is also changing. Even if I'm Guru Rinpoche, he changes every moment of every life. Every time he appears for someone else, he changes. And the world, it was so hot a few weeks ago. I was sitting here battling. Today it's cold. The seasons are illusory. Everything is illusory. I was sitting in the daylight and suddenly it was night. I was sitting, the stars were there. Everything is transient, impermanent. Contemplate on the unreal, changing nature of everything. Why are we doing this? To free ourselves from grasping onto everything. Open your hands, everybody. Feel how tightly you hold on to your family, your children, your situations, your homes, your everything. Hold on. Let it all open. Let it all go. Let it all be. Free yourself from grasping. Contemplate the unreal changing nature of everything transient. And reflect on the illusion of time and space. Time is relative, subjective. Sometimes when we're going through a terrible time, 1 minute feels like an eternity. When we're waiting for someone to die, when we don't know what the outcome will be, when we're waiting for a diagnosis, a moment can be like an eternity. Sometimes hours just flit past when it's a happy time and we think, oh, if only this wouldn't end. And it seems like an eternity and it was only 5 minutes. Notice how space is so relative. Sometimes we feel claustrophobic. Sometimes we feel expansive. Sometimes we feel as though we're in a little cupboard, meditating in the closet, but we still feel infinitely large, like the universe. There's nothing concrete to hold on to, no time, no space. So we can let go. We can contact the timeless time, the no time, the time beyond linear time. Do time shifting and space shifting for the spiritual process of transformation and awakening. So practice this as you go from this group. Ask yourself all day, is this a dream? Is it real? Is this going to last? Is it me? What's happening here? I don't know. It's changing. It's changing every moment of the day and night. Now I'm in a dream. Am I Melanie in the dream? Or am I someone else? Am I meeting beautiful beings? Am I creating? Am I taking the ugliness and burning it up because it's not really me? Feel the freedom of the primordial consciousness, space, sky-like space, with room to actually accommodate everything, open, spacious, no binding, no grasp, no anything, just being, no problems, no ties, just freedom. So there's a lot to ponder on, everybody. And I hope the others will get it on the recording, so we can just carry on next time. I'm not going over stuff. I just want to take you straight.
Thank you so much, Mel. Thank you.
What time do you start? What time do you start Australian time? Because it's now an hour earlier.
It's 7:30 now in the evening, so we start at 5:30.
Okay, so try if you can and come a little bit, for the
Mel, I
beginning.
won't be able to. I'm going to be. I can't. I know I can't. I've got all the kids. We all going to be at Joe. I can't. I'm sorry. As much as I'd love to, and I'm not going to take a computer. I'm not taking anything with me. The following week, I'm away. So apologies, but I just need. I need it.
Good. Do it, and that's very, very good. So let's dedicate so that those of you who need to go can go, and then I'll stay. If anybody wants to ask me anything, you're welcome. So let's just dedicate for all sentient beings. May they all achieve this beautiful primordial consciousness, okay? May they know, may they awaken, may all those in the wars stop and realize what they are projecting, how they are doing it. Let all these wars cease. Dedicated for all the people who are really struggling in the world and defeated. And we ask for all the harmful enemies to be defeated and for people to be liberated from the stuck ocean of existence, stirred by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Sonamdiye tanje zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene jeganachi bala propaye sipe sole doa do warsho. Let's get that up.